Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So I brought you guys here today. Oh, sorry. I am Nick behind Plant with Nick. If you are new here, I have a thing for plants, and today I wanted to talk to you about pests because in my plant mom journey, which has spanned over like the last 2 to 3 years, I have dealt with pretty much all of the pests. So I have a few tips on how you can kind of keep that under control. I've dealt with gnats, fungus gnats. I have dealt with spider mites. I have dealt with thrips, which I think are the worst out of all of them. And then I have dealt with mealy bugs more recently. So the first one I want to talk to you about are fungus gnats, which everybody pretty much has fungus gnats. If you have a sink, you have fungus gnats. But the problem is when they get into a plant, they lay eggs, and then you can get like an infestation of fungus gnats. So if that ever happens to you, there's a few things that you can do. You can get these traps off of Amazon. These work really well at capturing the adults, but then you also need to treat the soil. So you can treat the soil with one of my favorites, mosquito bits. So what you do is you just pour these, so they look like little tiny pieces of corn. You just sprinkle these on top of the soil, and then when you water it, it creates kind of like a solution, and it'll kill the fungus gnat larvae within 24 hours. They work really well. You can get it off of Amazon, pretty much any nursery. And then I also really like systemic granules. I don't know if everybody's comfortable using this, but this has been like a lifesaver for me when it comes to pests. You just sprinkle this on top of your soil, and then you kind of just meal it into the soil. Be careful if you have pets or small children in your home, make sure they're not eating it. So you just meal it into the top of the soil, and this will protect your plants for like 2 months. So I treat majority of my plants with systemic granules about every 2 months to help me with the fungus gnats. You can also use peroxide, so you can mix your, like the solution that you water your plants with, you put a little peroxide, that'll help to kill the fungus. That helps, but I mean, I didn't really notice much of a difference, but if you want to go more of a natural route, then peroxide helps a little bit. Then the next bug that I want to talk to you about is spider mites. Spider mites are these teeny tiny bugs that are almost impossible to see with the naked eye. They also leave, so that the adults are black, but the babies are white, so you can barely see them, but they leave these little spots on the back of your leaf. And a lot of plants that are heavily infested with spider mites will have yellowing leaves. So it's important, don't always think like just because your leaves are yellow that it's from overwatering. It could be a pest problem. So for spider mites, I like Captain Jack's. Let's see, I have it right here. So I like this right here. It's Captain Jack's Dead Bug Brew. You mix about half a cup of this with a gallon of water. I add it to a sprayer because it just makes life easier, and I can just spray multiple plants at once. Yeah, that works really well for spider mites. So you can use the Captain Jack's, or you could also just make like a solution. This is like when I first started like learning about bugs and like how to treat myself for bugs, I made this solution of neem oil. You get neem oil from any hardware store or nursery, and you neem oil like maybe I want to say 1/4 cup, maybe even a little less than that. Put a little dish detergent in there, a little bit of alcohol, and then water. Just top it off with water. You can find a recipe anywhere on the internet. And just put it in a spray bottle, spray the plant down, and then wipe it off with like a microfiber glove like this, or you could use a microfiber towel or a paper towel, whatever you prefer. So neem oil works really well with the spider mites and also the Captain Jack's. Mealy bugs are these gross looking white bugs. I never really had mealy bugs, but I was helping a friend out with her plants, and her plants had a really bad mealy bug infection. So I had to learn a little bit about how to treat plants for mealy bugs when I was helping her with that. The problem with mealy bugs is they come back. So like, even if you get rid of all of them, they just like are constantly, the resurgence is so real with those. But the Captain Jack's is really good with for the mealy bugs too. And the systemic granules. I feel like these two kind of help with that. I tried to do just neem oil for mealy bugs, and that didn't work too well for me. I like soaked that plant in a bath of neem oil and dish detergent to get all of them off. And then I swear it was like a week later, they were right back. So I feel like the biggest help for the mealy bugs was the Captain Jacks and the systemic granules. And then lastly, I have dealt with thrips. Thrips are also very tiny. They look like fungus gnats, but they are sap-sucking bugs. So they kind of eat your plant from like the inside out. And once you have like thrips, it infests, it will take out your whole plant collection. So that's not anything you want to sleep on. So for that one, I also use the systemic granules and the Captain, or this was the Captain Jacks and this is systemic granules. So for those, I use that as well. So, I mean, in a nutshell, like for pretty much all pests, I like the systemic granules. I like the Captain Jacks. This I apply every 2 months. I just sprinkle a little bit on top, meal it into the soil, and then water as usual. Just don't water too heavily for the first 10 days because then you'll water it all out. And then this, I try to spray my plants down like maybe once a month just for preventative. But if you had like an active pest problem, you could spray it down maybe like once a week. You just want to be careful that you're not overwatering those plants that maybe don't require watering once a week, or you're at least covering the top of the plant, something to protect from all that extra fluid that you're going to be giving it. This little sprayer that I got, I use with the solution I got off of Amazon. I think it was like $14.99. It's really helpful because can you imagine, like, I mean, I have 90 plants. Like, can you imagine spraying 90 plants down with this, like with a regular, you know, I already have carpal tunnel. I mean, it'd really be bad. So yeah. Oh, another thing I wanted to show you, you could use for fungus gnats, soapy water. One of my coworkers actually told me about that she just would put like little dishes of soapy water out to help with the fungus gnats. So that works pretty well. I don't have a big problem right now. That's why you don't see anything in here. This has been out all day, but sometimes I do see one or two like floating around here. But I feel like it's just kind of a part of having plants. Like if you're going to have plants, you're going to have pests. So other natural ways that you could treat pests or that diatomaceous earth, I've never used that, but I know that's another natural route that you could do. You could do peroxide in your soil, as I may have mentioned earlier, if you want to treat for fungus gnats. I've heard of people using like cinnamon. I've heard of people using, what else? I think that's probably it. So just the cinnamon and diatomaceous earth, and then the peroxide for fungus gnats. I don't really know how else you would treat other than those two things that I mentioned to you. I don't really know how else you would treat for like mealybugs. Oh, alcohol. Alcohol kills mealybugs, so you can use alcohol for mealybugs. But I don't really know how else you would treat for thrips because those suckers are like impossible to kill. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for pests. Thanks again for tuning in. I can't believe I have 100 subscribers. Thank you so much. If you've already subscribed, if you have not subscribed, you know, you can if you want to. It would make my day, but don't feel any pressure. Thanks again for tuning in this week. I'll see you guys next week. Until then, take care of yourself. Have a great evening. Bye.